Hi, guys. Welcome back to VIP Podcast with
Giovanna
and me, Patty. Yeah, I think that's my name. I'm just kidding. So welcome back. And we're just, I don't know. It's just something about this VIP, very important person. But, victory in a lot of things, victory in pain. I know we don't like to talk about that one.
Yeah.
The pain one. Sometimes we're like, oh, we're okay with the pause. We're okay with the process. But I think that something about the pain that we kind of want to kind of jump over that one. But we want to bring to you our very important person. And there is victory. There's victory in the pause, the pain, the process, the persecution, all of that. But I think sometimes we can't see on the other side of that when we're right in the middle of the pain.
And if we're not careful, we won't want to push through that.
Right.
Push through the pain. And with VIP podcasts, we want to create and cultivate a place where you feel safe. It's your story.
Right.
It's what you've been through. It may not be what the other person feels or thinks, but it's your story. It's what you've been through. So we're excited that we got to have VIP. I don't know if you see behind us, we're getting legit over here. I don't know if you haven't watched it, you got to watch our episode with Jose. I like to call him Hoser because I know him since he's little, but it's Jose. You got to check out that episode. It's actually pretty awesome. And so we're pretty legit.
Yeah.
So we're excited because we have. So if you guys have watched it, if you haven't watched it, pause this one, go watch the other one, then come back to this one, and you'll know why. Because our VIP that we have here today, our VIP guest, is probably I don't know if I'm biased because we're females or what, but no, huh?
No.
I'm talking about the backbone to Jose. Hear that? Rewind that, Jose. I'm just kidding. But we got Jose's wife, and I don't want to introduce her as Jose's wife.
No,
because she has her own identity.
That's right.
We got Laura on VIP.
Super excited. Super excited. I know when you talk about the backbone, and we're talking about this business that they've built together. This Kairos. Laura, kind of, what is that like doing? Because we like to say, oh, you have like all these hats that you wear, right? You're the wife, the mom, the sister, the daughter. I don't know, and now you're like, I am boss lady.
Well, let's see. It's different, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm super nervous right now. I don't know why.
And she's the boss lady. She's been recording our episodes.
I know.
She's great.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let me pause real quick and take it back. So if you haven't watched it, the reason why we say pause because you want to hear Jose's story first. But there was, I want to go into that because we did talk to Jose when he was on our first episode, and we talk about how your business came. So we're in your studio, but it was a podcast that was unfiltered, and now Jose has Still Here. And so when we said and talked to him, Still Here is because he went through almost like a death experience. Actually, I think he died, but then he lived. Thank God, because then we're here, right? But how was that for you on your side? So we got his, he had the victory in that process and that pain, physical pain, right?
Yeah.
How did you feel? Because right now, fast forward, we're like, you're boss lady. We're excited.
Yeah.
But how was it before? Like, did you always feel boss lady? What happened? Like, what did you?
We got to go back. No,
she's like going way back.
I think.
Oh, wrong video. No.
So I think part of becoming a mom, I think that kind of gave me. Okay, I have to make sure these kids are okay. Like, it was a full-time job, but I also had to make sure Jose had everything that he needed to do. So when he goes to work, he's taken care of. But I think just gradually learning and growing, and kids grow, you have to grow too. I can't treat them like toddlers when they're 15 and 16. So I'm still growing because they're growing. And with the business, Jose pretty much just put it in front of me. He's like, hey, you're going to do this today. And I'm like, it was a new equipment. We just got it like an hour ago. And he's like, you're going to do this and this. I'm like, what? Why? He's like, well, who else is going to do it? I was like,
you're looking around.
So
somebody, anybody.
But I was like so scared. I was like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess up. This is a big deal.
Yeah. Was this before or after his experience in the hospital?
This was before.
Okay.
So this was before we're learning. This is what the first podcast.
Okay.
So kind of like maybe towards the end of it, we're getting new equipment.
Okay.
And I had to kind of step
up. Okay.
And after a while, I got the hang of it, and I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Secretly.
Hey,
he was like, we're going to do a podcast today.
Like, you felt that would be all.
I know. She's all secretly liked it.
Yeah. I just don't let him know. And, I'm trying to learn this new language.
Yeah.
He knows this language, and he's learning it, and I had to like catch up.
Yeah.
And just trial and error. But as we were going, I kind of, let's see, he got sick. That was last August. It was right after our daughter just turned 16. Wow. It was like 4 days after that.
Wow.
We went out to River Park and Woodward Park, and we took Sweet 16 pictures, and it was nice.
That was in 2021.
Yeah. And a couple days later, he just started feeling weird. And so we went through the whole process, the whole ordeal. I think when it kind of hit me was when I had to leave him at the hospital.
Oh.
And then not being there, like, I need my insurance. Usually I do all that.
Yeah.
I write everything out.
Yeah.
He's with me. The kids, I write all their information out. And I'm like, do you know how to do that? Just give them this, and here's this, and you should be good. But it was really sad, like dropping him off and watching him walk, to the front. And I kind of felt like, okay, don't leave yet, just stay.
Yes.
But that was really crazy. It's really hard to explain. It's just, you have to experience it.
Right.
And it's, I don't know. But let's see, when he was gone, it was definitely a different Jose. Yeah. Because prior, our marriage was like, we weren't communicating as much. And I felt like there was a wall being built. And
how long were you guys married? Or
we've been married for 17 years, but back then it was like 16. And it was just getting rocky, and I was like, what's going on? I felt like we were becoming more distant. And then COVID happened, and it actually kind of brought us together. What's one thing, and you had asked, we were talking earlier, like, what is a woman?
Yeah.
And right now, I feel like a woman is somebody who can, after someone just hurt you or said something or was rude, you can still come back and be a peaceful person. Like, here's your food. And with no like kind of resentment or like attitude, retaliation. It's just like different. So, but you want me to just start from?
Yeah. And so, even to our listeners, there's people that are listening or watching, and I think that we don't get raw and vulnerable because we like to reserve, because we want to protect people, But, how do people know and see the victory in our pain,
right?
Even in a place where you're like, okay, I'm married. You guys are both believers. I don't know if that time you're going to church or what's taking place, but do you have anybody you can talk to? Do you have anybody to say, hey, I don't know what's going on with my marriage? Anybody to come alongside and say, hey, this is what we do together. Do you find yourself feeling all alone, even though?
Yeah, I have a best friend. We keep in touch. Yeah. We're like sisters. Yeah. You just catch up and you like talk for 2 hours. And like time never passed by. Yeah. But she's not a believer to her, you know, God's word especially. She's like a whole universe.
Yeah. There's a higher power.
There's just a little confusion there. So, but she's still a great friend.
Yeah.
But I really didn't have anybody to confide in. And we've always had a thing with our marriage, like people don't need to know our business, you know? So I didn't want to go and talk and say, you know, and have that person completely turn things around or think of Jose in a different way, you know? So I had to just rely on God. Like, sometimes I'm like, I don't even need to talk to you, God, because you already know.
Wow.
You see him.
Yeah.
Like,
you see him. Blaming it on him.
You see how he's acting.
And then it's also like, I need to be mature too. You know, is it me checking myself?
Yeah.
But through the whole COVID experience, that was really hard. You know, the lady called me, the doctor called me, and she's like, your husband, we have him scheduled to leave tomorrow. He's on 4% oxygen. You'll have all the equipment that you need, but we don't have any oxygen today. And he was leaving. He's getting his stuff packed up and he wants to leave right now. And me not really understanding the whole COVID thing. I didn't really, and I go, okay, well, do you think he'll be fine? She goes, no, he will die. He needs oxygen. And I didn't really click in my head, like, what? Like, I kind of like, what?
Contradicting yours. Like, well,
she goes, no, he needs oxygen. She's all, so he's going to call you right now and please convince him to stay.
Oh.
Yes.
So he calls me. He's all, come and get me. I'm driving. I have to pull over. He's all, come and get me right now. Are you sure? Because she said you're going to die if I take you home. So finally he was like, okay, just, I go, one more day. I go, it's evening in a couple hours. They'll have all the oxygen tanks you need and what you could come home. So I was ready. I already knew like he just wanted to get out of there. But brought him home. I thought he was going to get better. You know, and I just saw a decline. Every day was getting worse. And I know he was really trying to feel better and get better, but something was wrong. All the symptoms are like, is he wheezing? Is he this? Every day I was on the phone with the nurse. Every day I was calling people. We have friends and we're like, okay, he's feeling this way. He's feeling that way. Because they don't give you no one knows what COVID is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to buy Mullen. I'm trying to buy all these vitamins on Amazon because they didn't send him home with anything. So we're looking for all this stuff. People are getting up, hey, try this, try this. Bought some stuff on Amazon called Mighty Lung. I bought Mullen. I bought everything. So we started pumping him up.
Yeah.
But his body was just declining.
Wow.
To a point where he wouldn't sleep. And then so we would camp out in the living room. Our whole house looked like a hospital.
Wow.
Because he couldn't get up to use the restroom. So we had to do everything right there on the couch. The slightest movement, his breathing would go down.
Wow. His oxygen levels would drop.
A lot. And it got to a point where he wasn't sleeping, and one night he had this chest pain. But when he showed me his chest, it looked like you know the movie Aliens. His chest looked like that. It was like crazy, and I was like, "This is not normal."
Wow.
So finally, he was like, "Just take me in." So again, having to leave him there, it just it breaks my heart.
Yeah. It's heart-wrenching, you know, because you can't be with the person that you love and be there, even if you're out. I mean, they're in this hospital room and you can't see them, and then they themselves feeling alone and vulnerable. Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. But me knowing like, okay, hopefully they're going to take care of him. Yeah. I did my best. Yeah. And when we came to a point where like, I felt like I was going to have a breaking point because I'm like, I'm trying to help you, but he was frustrated because he couldn't breathe and he couldn't function. He couldn't walk. He couldn't do this. So he felt helpless. And then I was taking care of the kids still, making dinner, making sure like I had to go to get groceries. Hurry up. I got to go restroom. I got to drive home, help him use the restroom. So I had so much on me. And I told God, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because you get to that.
I took a shower and I was like, I can't do this.
You get to that breaking point. Yeah.
And it was, I would say just a couple hours, he's like, I have to go in. and I knew it. But sorry.
No.
Don't ever apologize for that, because this is your story.
So as he's in there again, I do see a change in him, how he's like, I have all the text messages that he saved. He was like, he's like, just, I love you. Like every night I have so many. It's like, this is a different Jose.
Wow.
And I kind of thought like, God, you're really, I didn't know where our marriage was actually going because of the disconnect a little bit.
Right.
But I knew he loved me and I loved him too. There was just something there. And I think it was just something internally that maybe he was struggling with or thinking about. But I think it kind of restored our marriage to where we're communicating more. And there was times where he was like, I can't talk right now. Just talk to me. And I thought like, what do I say? So so I told him the whole day what we were doing. I was like, what? And I thought to myself, I don't usually talk. And I didn't know how to talk. You know, and for me internally, I was like, just say what you're thinking. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna talk, whatever. And then that's what our day was. And I'm like, are you okay? You just nod, just still trying to breathe. But and as we're going through this, our kids I saw the strength in my son. Like there was one time the doctor was like, your husband's not gonna make it, telling me all this bad stuff. And I was like, I just talked to him yesterday and he sounded fine or better. Better. I know he's struggling, but he sounds better. So she just started putting all this doubt. And she didn't have that bedside manner to like, you know, but there is progress. There's a little bit, there was nothing, very dry. And I was like, what is going on? And, you know, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I had family, but it was like, we're praying for you, which that's nice.
Yeah.
But to like verbally talk, and I didn't really have that.
Yeah.
My mom would call sometimes because, you know, she's in the medical field. So, and then she's listening to all these other people and doctors. So she would give me some little advice and stuff, but
wasn't really here with you.
But I saw the strength in my son. You know, I would break down at one time after the doctor. He was like, and he hugged me. He was like, Mom, Dad'll be fine. Dad's got this. And I'm like, dang. He's like 12 years old. And I was like, you're right. And the kids were like, yeah, Mom, Dad's got this. He's not going to leave us. Because we had that conversation of Jose's like, I don't think I'm going to come home. So, but we just kept praying and kept going. And finally we were able to bring him home. And instead of seeing the decline from last time, we saw the improvement. Right. You know, and then he would say, okay, I'm going to help me walk to the sidewalk. I'm like, no. Yeah. What are you doing? Yeah. And he's okay. The next day, he's help me walk to the stop sign. And I'm like, get his oxygen tank, get this, get the wheelchair, be behind us. Yeah. And he's like, the next day, he's like, I'm going to walk down the block. And every day, and that, and that's amazing to see, you know, and I was really surprised.
He said a couple of things. He said, you know, thank you first for being vulnerable. And that takes a lot of courage, especially because I heard you say this, that you didn't even realize you didn't have a voice. Yeah. You know, and we're grown women. You're a mom, you're a wife, you do things, but you still didn't feel like you had a voice. And for you to even have a voice right now is victory. It's powerful to be able to say, I have a voice. Like I do. Like, and just, you know, you saying you don't have a voice, did you just feel like you were never heard, or you couldn't talk, or did you view, did you not have a voice in your marriage, or like, what did you mean? What do you mean when you say?
I think like everything was always like business or talking or like family stuff, but it wasn't like just deep nonsense, kind of like nonsense.
Yeah. Like when you first meet someone.
Yeah, you're just talking.
You're just breathing on the phone.
This conversation has nothing to it. I'm just talking and talking. And
it's all surface.
And to have
stuff.
no one on the other side talk back
Yeah.
because he was struggling.
Right.
I had to like keep the conversation going. I was like,
oh yeah.
Usually, you know, we go back and forth, but for me to keep on going and going, it's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
He's like, just keep talking. I need to hear your voice. And I was like,
yeah.
so.
And that was probably healing for you too, to see the text messages that it's reassurance that he does love you.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah, because the enemy, like, so
Right?
quickly tries to turn just the simplest thought,
Yeah.
you know, just the simplest negative thought.
Yeah.
And he's like feeding you all kinds of thoughts and going to different, you're all over here and nothing's even happened.
Right.
You
But
know,
you've
so
already
analyzed it, thought
and
about
it's
it,
happened.
pictured it,
Yeah.
scenarios.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's such a liar, you
Yeah.
know? And he's done that through our marriage. I mean, we've been married 17 years. Of course, we have ups and downs all the time, but realizing that it's like, devil, you're a liar. And I think it's brought us closer, definitely. We do everything together. We're together all the time, you know? And he's my best friend, you know? Because there's other people that come and go in your life. And I kind of feel like once they leave, like, oh, well, man, I spent too much time on that person and I wasted time with my family, you know, and I don't want to do that. So just keeping our circle, but still having friends and stuff. But he's my best friend.
Oh, I love that. And just even,
Yeah.
you never, you know, once sitting, you're like, man, God, why? I mean, I think of Jose and he is always strong and he was always joking. Right? So when I heard he got COVID, and he just didn't get COVID, he got the other variant
Yeah.
too, right? So it really, you think like, oh, they're young, they're strong,
Yeah.
like, oh, you're cool. But to hear like,
You're
no,
good.
like
You're fine.
I might not make
Yeah,
it.
I was just
like
flip of a
overnight.
switch, yeah.
And for you to just be from 1 minute to the next to be like, oh, I'm worried about like what's going on with our marriage. I'm not sure, like we're not communicating what's happening. You have these thoughts and it kind of is weighing, like, cause you know, you hear most times it's hard to stay married these days, right? So you hear all that and then you go from 1 minute to another, like he may not even be living now.
Yeah.
Like it makes your perspective like a real quick switch, right? A shift.
A shift. Yeah, because you're in that moment, and that was the concern. The concern was communication. Like there's this wall that's possible, and then you're like, okay, wait, now this is a different level.
You kind of had to just push that aside.
Yeah, like that
Like,
doesn't
this is like life and death right
right.
here.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're in the moment doing, you know, life with your spouse, that dependency. You're like, okay, you know, we're sharing the, you know, taking care of the kids. We're sharing those things. We're sharing meals, and then overnight
You
that
can be by yourself. Yeah.
that you're like basically you're like single mom now.
Yeah. I never doubted. I knew God wasn't going to take Jose. It was just the fact of seeing him like struggling with that. But I never doubt like, oh God, he's not coming back. Even when he was in that living room telling us, I was crying and emotional because I thought I would never hear those words come out of his mouth. But I knew he needed to say that.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
That's so good.
But I knew in my heart, God's not going to take you. There's no way that God has had you, like, he's had a difficult life. And through, I was like, why would God bring you and you go through all these experiences just to take you out right now? I was
like he ain't done with you
no,
yet.
he's like a cat. He has 9 lives.
What number was that one?
So I knew God wasn't going to take him. It was just a process that we had to do. And it made our family stronger because after that, our kids just bloomed up.
Wow.
You know, I saw their personalities come out. I saw their confidence. It just like, it was different kids. I don't know what happened. I think they thought like, man, life can be taken so fast.
Wow.
And
Tomorrow's
I don't know
not
if I
promised to us.
So I saw them bloom. I saw them hold us up. Definitely hold Jose up during that time. But they were there, you know.
Wow.
And they're young. They're so mature.
Yeah.
And I thank God for that. And I think they just glean from us like awareness.
So there was a lot of that you endured and persevered, and so you could see victory in it. Because now, fast forward, you know, that was a year ago, a little over a year ago, and now we're here.
Yeah.
And we're still here.
Yeah.
No pun intended. We're still here. You know, in here, and you're able to share that now. Like, what do things look like for you guys now?
So
in your marriage?
Yeah, our marriage is great. Yeah, we have our ups and downs. Typical.
Who doesn't? Beat him up. It's okay. Beat him up. Get him.
Yeah, he picks on me a lot, and I just tickle him. That's his vulnerable. But
now we know.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that's what I fell in love with him.
Yeah.
I loved his sense of humor, and then I love that. Like watching him on stage before, he can make me cry so fast, but then happy and then crying, happy, all these emotions. And it's really good. Once he was up and ready, it was gone.
Yeah.
February has been nonstop.
Wow.
And he gets new equipment. I learn it. I try my best, and it's just okay. I feel like before. Our business couldn't go all the way with clients because he was the only one doing it all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel now that we're working together side by side, that we're able to get more done.
Wow.
You know, and I mean, it's fun. You know, I was a stay-at-home mom for the time that I needed to be with the kids.
Yeah. Right.
I'm still a stay-at-home mom,
Uh-huh.
but I still have a job and I work and with him. And I mean, it's not that bad.
I've prayed for your sister. Not just kidding. He's not that bad. I'm just playing. Stay home mom.
Yeah.
So how did that make you feel? Stay home mom, especially in our society right now. They're like women power. You go out, you work, like you know what I mean. Did you ever feel, or Jose ever make you feel like, oh, you're just stay home mom now? You're just really like.
So I finished high school, went to college for 2 years. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So. And then at that time we were dating undercover. No one knew for a whole year.
Really?
Yeah.
Undercover.
So we got another episode.
I know.
But when I got pregnant, I thought of, so my daughter was born with spinal meningitis. So she was having seizures, really sick, whole thing. It was horrible. So I was away for her for like 3 weeks. We were in separate hospitals.
Wow.
And I think at that moment I knew like I cannot just go to work somewhere and leave her. So when he's like, you know, you should just be a stay-home mom, I had no problem with that.
Wow. Yeah.
And then so once I had Kaylani, I would say 6-7 months later, I was pregnant again.
Wow. Are you Mexican? Or?
Yeah.
They're not even 11 months apart. How many months apart?
Yeah. So it was like a year almost, like barely.
Wow.
Barely a year. Mm-hmm.
Then we had
Staying true to the culture.
Yeah. And then we had Lily.
Right.
And I didn't want to be away from them. And then so I was thinking, so I have to go to work, come back, pay for daycare. And then...
Like,
so
why?
we learned to live on a one income.
That's good.
It was really hard. I'm not saying it was all daisies, but we're eating white rice tonight. That's it. Or, you know, but we learned to live off one income. We still had everything we needed. My mom always bought us couches, and when their kids were little, she'd buy them their toys and stuff. So that was nice. But I think learning to live off of that one income, and even to this day, obviously we have one income, but we have no debt.
That's great.
You know, we live within our means.
Wow.
We're not like flaunting and blind. We really good on our bills. We're talking about today, like, you know, we don't have a lot of bills.
That's good.
I'm like, no, we don't. We probably have like 6 bills that we, you know, stick
that
to.
are like a consistent, the monthly.
And everything else, you know, it goes to the business or it goes to the kids, you know, but I mean, that's where we started. We live off of one income, and that's how we're going to do it. And that's really helped us to really, okay, that's that's not necessary. We're just wasting money. So, but it took us a long time to work through that. It was a process
to get through that. And not because that's challenging. That's actually a process to be able, especially the way times are now. And it's, you're not a true American unless you're in debt, right?
That you're owing something.
Yeah.
And then
that's a true American way.
I know a lot of, I have a couple of friends and we talk about stay-home moms. It's not for everybody because there's some people that need that social. They need, they got to be doing something all the time. I felt I was like that for a while, but then I got to a point where like, maybe it was depression, maybe it was something, but I was just in my pajamas all day, hair up in a bun. Jose was like, "Why don't you get ready?" And I was like, "Why?" I'm just gonna get stains or bleach or something on me. So I think he saw that, like, okay, we need to go get you some clothes. I was like, okay, but like the only time I would get ready was Sunday mornings, and then Sunday mornings I wasn't even service. I was in children's ministry with my girls or the nursery. So I was like, what's the point?
Wow.
Why do I even get up just to be in this room, dingy little room?
With other people's kids.
I could be at home with my girls. And I think I kind of got into that. Yeah. That rut. Like, why do I need to go anywhere? I just stay home. Like, I got everything I need here. So, it is a transition. Some people can't handle it.
Yeah. That's good. That's good that you say that because it isn't for everybody. Some will sit out there and be like, "Oh, she's just a stay-home mom. She's just with her kids all day," or "Oh, you have it easy." Like, but depression can kick in. Like, where's my other identity? How is just a mom is who I am. Like, I'm no longer Laura. Like, I put my hair
dreams
in a bun. Like. And even though your kids become your everything, my kids are my world. Like, they're everything to me.
Yeah.
And I would still say, like, I need to go. I'm going to work.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And I was a single mom. So for my first two daughters, I was a single mom. And I would find myself taking the bus to drop off one kid at the daycare here and then taking one to the school and getting back on the bus to go to work. It was hard.
Man.
It was really rough. And there was times that like I would have to hurry up and I'd be walking from my apartment in the rain by myself as a young mom. Had my kids pretty young and having to do it by myself. And it was really hard. So even both are hard, right?
Yeah.
So I needed to get out and that was how God had me. But one or the other is also not just like, oh, you're more of a woman if you go out into the marketplace and you become the director or the head CEO or executive director and like, oh yeah, she's a strong, good woman, versus, oh, well, no, she's a strong woman because she's a real woman because she stays home with her kids.
Yep. She's a real mom.
Yeah, she's a real mom. She stays home with her kids. She feeds her kids. She feeds her husband. She cooks for her husband. She packs his lunch. Like, like, that's a Proverbs 31 woman that stands back. But if we're not careful, we'll try to say one is better than the other.
Yeah.
But it's not, because I love how you said, I'm embraced. I even see, yes, God told me to stay home with my kids. But even me staying home with my kids, I could have almost lost myself and didn't even know like what depression was.
I don't think a woman is just one type. I mean, there's so many types.
Different facets.
Yeah, there's some people that can work and still handle the kids and do everything. But I just didn't want to, I guess.
You're like, for me, for your home, this is what worked for you.
It worked for us. And it wasn't really about me anymore. I had to take care of these little ones. And that's what I devoted myself and to my husband, and just to make sure I was there for everybody.
Did you learn that from your mom? Did you learn that from your upbringing? Like, did you have, sometimes, so you're like, okay, my mom did this and I see her, so I need to stay and do it.
Now that I think about it right now, it's probably the opposite. My mom, worked really hard. She went to college when I was small. So we would wake up so early, like 5 in the morning. My dad would wake me up 5 in the morning to take me to my grandma's house. I was so tired. And then I would be all day at school. And then my dad will pick me up. It's already dark, go home. So I think maybe it was, I needed to be home because they weren't home.
Yeah. Wow. It wasn't your experience. So
I was always home alone, waiting. So that's probably where it was. Like I wanted to be with the kids, my kids and my husband.
Right.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And because my mom didn't have my other sister till I was 7. So, you know, only child, and we lived out in the country. We had no neighbors.
Oh.
So I mean, maybe that was another thing where I just wanted that family. I mean, my parents were married and no problem, but maybe I just wanted that.
You wanted
I don't know. Is it a fantasy? Is it a dream to stay home and maybe mine? Maybe that was mine.
Yeah.
Because it could go either way. You can say, okay, this is what I know, so it's familiar. So you step into that. You go to work and you do everything that you saw be familiar, as a child. Or you can go, even though you're not able to process it really fully until you're an adult, and say, oh, I'm choosing something else other than what I knew to be familiar to me. I'm going to choose this.
Yeah.
This is my dream. This is my vision for my family. And I think sometimes we even judge, others like, well, I wouldn't do it like that. So why are they doing that? We think there's this template or a formula how to be a mom, how to be, and sometimes we don't, I can't say that when I was a little girl that I said, oh, I can't wait till I grow up and be a single mom. I just can't wait for all of these things to happen. Right. And sometimes life happens.
Yeah.
And we walk through that process.
Yeah.
And some things we don't choose and some things we do choose for ourselves.
Well, yeah. And I just love it because if you yield to what God is telling you for your home, you're saying one income, you don't know. Sometimes just look at like God, you still have the family, your husband that you want. And it's beautiful. And we're sitting like,
yeah. I mean, it took us.
It's so amazing. I'm blown and it's not stopping here.
Yeah. So it took us a long time to get here. I thought it would never.
Yeah.
I every night I would pray for a house, pray for a house, pray for a house, pray for some, because we were always living with family members, his side, my side, and it was just like we're all in a one bedroom,
right?
All 5 of us sleeping. I put out beds for everybody, and every night I was like, God, when are you gonna give us a house?
Wow.
And I think it was at that moment where we stepped out. We got our income tax money and we're like, then a place opened up that I didn't even call about and they're calling me. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
We gave them everything. We got the keys. We're gone.
Yeah.
But it just took us, I think, stepping out and like trusting yourself. And I think that's the part where the male takes,
wow.
The household.
Yeah.
He's in charge of our family. He's the one that stirs the ship. I'm just there to make sure, just to help with his arms or, in the scripture, but I'm there, his helpmate next to him. But I mean, he's the one that steers it. And I think in society, it's kind of flipped or they want it to flip in that situation. But, I don't think we were meant to hold so much. Like, I think we could hold stuff up, but to be put on us, I don't think we're made for that.
I like that.
I like that.
Because I mean, look how we're built physically.
Yeah.
The men are built with muscle mass to hold down, the weight. And when he stepped out and he did that, I really feel like that's when our family was maturing. And that's when we were maturing. Wow. And every time he stepped out, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I knew his calling. And I know, like, my role as a wife, I need to make sure everybody's healthy. Okay, make sure everybody's getting the vitamins that they need. But for him, he has a different role too.
Yeah.
And he was always like learning stuff, learning. I was like, what is he? Why is he in the computer all day?
Yeah.
He just sits there all day. And I'm like doing laundry, doing this, doing that.
Like,
and
what is he doing?
But you know what? God says he's learning.
Wow.
What? And I would ask him, what are you doing? Oh, this new camera came out, or this new gadget video stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And he would tell me about it. Like, okay. But we didn't even have a camera. We didn't own anything. A GoPro, I think that's all we had.
Wow.
And so I could have been, you know, a
Yeah.
bee.
Yeah.
And be like,
You can say
get
the
out
word.
here.
We give you permission.
I don't know. I can't do that.
She's like, no, I can't. I can't. Just all
No,
no.
but
Do it. No, just kidding.
I had to be that submissive wife and be like, let him do it. What is it going to benefit me for getting on his nerves and say, oh,
Nagging.
be a man, go out there, get a job, you know, get a better job, you know, why are you still working over there? But I knew my role. And I would just like, he would tell me stuff and I sometimes go over my head what he's saying, but I'm like, okay. And then I would try to like look up the video and like, what's he talking about? You know, so.
That's so awesome.
But
you know,
it was
your
just a
husband,
process.
I think, said a bad word on our thing, so you could say one. Or does he say them? Just kidding.
I don't know. He says when I say bad words, that just doesn't sound right
right?
coming out of you. So I'm like, okay. But and that was, I think, when he's stepping out, you know, as a man of the household, that's, we still need that.
Yeah, I like how you said that, the role, because we cry like we want men to take their rightful position where God has called them to be. Yet there's some that try to get in there, but society has it to where like, no, women are just as equal and power. And I like that we've talked about this. And Patty, you say something that always stands out. You say, it's not that we're feminists or anything, but you say, I believe in.
Yeah. Versus women in power, but we get to empower women.
And I love that because there's a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Women in power versus us empowering women.
I really do
Right.
think like we have like unspoken strength or something. You know, like it's just, you don't know you have it until you're going through it.
Right.
You know?
I never knew I was really Wonder Woman until like.
You just don't know.
I just thought about that.
Until you're out of it. Like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't even have any clue.
Yeah. And I think there's obviously, as you know, we've shared our story before about being single moms. Well, obviously we're going to rise up to that occasion. Right.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we stay there. You know, we rise up because our kids need us.
Right.
Yeah.
And there may not be anyone else there to help us walk through that process. But that's still, we're still saying there's still
stop.
order. Right.
It doesn't stop.
Right.
I mean, as a mother, you don't live for yourself anymore. And there's some moms that have kids and they don't know how to not live from themselves. And it's all about them. They're still going out, still partying.
Yeah.
Partying.
Yeah.
But,
But she never partied, so she didn't know that word. She's so sweet.
But there's like a disconnection.
Yeah.
And but when you're like, they don't have anybody to take care of them, how am I going to leave them? They rely on me. They came out of me. So I think it's a whole different, it's like a switch that goes on in our maternal instincts just kick in. And even as you get older, I mean, listening to Patty, I mean, you still have that. It's still your baby. Probably doesn't ever stop.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
I'm my oldest.
And then
one.
they don't, it's even harder. I feel like it's harder once, they're adults and you're like, oh, good Lord, help me. Because you want a mother.
Yeah.
You want a mother, and then your role takes on a different facet as our kids become adults.
Yeah.
Our
Our kids, they get along really good. They, and one day they were just kind of like getting on each other's nerves. And I was talking to my son, and we were just sitting there. I was like, you know what? One day you guys are going to be all married. You have kids. I go, right now you could go walk to Leah's room and do whatever, talk to her, have conversations. But one day you're not going to have that. You're going to have to call her, or you have to drive. And it's just that you're not going to have her with you right there. I go, so enjoy the moments.
That's good.
Enjoy the time that you have with her, with your sisters. Go play outside, go do whatever you do, because, time goes by really fast. And one day they're not going to be there.
And things
so close.
Change. Yeah.
So close. So, and instilling that in the kids, because I am a stay-home mom and we do homeschool.
Oh, that's
so there's some moms that are stay-home moms, but they still take their kids to school.
So your kids are homeschooled too.
Yeah. We go through a certain program and it's public online homeschool.
So you have thank God that your husband's your best friend, because you guys are together all day and with the kids, and you run this so really having to live out Ephesians 5, right? How it looks like for a husband and wife, so that you can be able to honor and respect each other, right? So that Jose knows how to love you as his wife, but at the same time, you know how to honor and respect him.
Yeah.
And still the dynamics of the family still be really, because we've personally got to talk to your children and meet them, and they're amazing. They're very respectful. And so just to be able to all day long with there's like no break, like no, really living out Ephesians 5 and knowing, like for myself personally, I know I was a single mom for a lot of years, and then I fast forward, get married, and all my roles in life have always been in leadership, right? So I'm always I've been a leader in everything I've done, even in my job, a director, right? Office manager, like always in leadership. And when you're single, you have to have that.
Yeah.
So I remember God telling me, you need to switch your role, because I would come in my home and still naturally want to lead when that's my husband's role.
Yeah.
Like he's the leader of the home. And I didn't know how to switch from, I'm always direct, right? I lead, I make decisions, have to think of things, like come up with solutions, think of like leading in every area, whether it was at church or in the marketplace. So to hear you say it so smoothly, you make it seem so easy to be that Ephesians 5 wife, that Proverbs 31 wife. You make it seem so easy that even just a little bit of myself, I'm like, man, like
No.
like,
No,
I'm not letting my husband hear this episode, right?
It's all.
It's not easy.
So that's what I want to hear. Like, I know that, it seems easy, but I'm sure, like you said, in the shower, you were crying and you're like,
I can't do it.
I can't do this.
So me and Jose have two different upbringings. His family's been through, he has a lot of trauma experiences in his life, and not much. I went to elementary, and I lived in the country, so
you're a country
I'm
girl.
a country girl, and when you put these two people together, it's totally different.
Yeah.
But it's really, God just is so weird.
Yeah, I love it.
He tells me exactly what's going on. Because there's times where I've told this story before, and I shared with Jose. There's certain times where he would say really mean things, and like let me see, kind of like they were thrown at me because of past hurt that other women put on him.
Right.
I can't think of specifically an example, but that's what it was. There was the, stepmom, mom relationships. So in those relationships of women, they would get thrown on me. They were triggers. Okay. So I'm in the shower, because that's where I pray.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, why does he do that? That hurts me so much when that happens.
I'm gonna beat him up.
And God would say, he's hurt. That's what they did to him.
Wow.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, it's not personal. Really, it's not personal.
That's good.
It's just a reflex. So I had to learn that. So whenever I would see it, I would hear it, I know that's a trigger. He's not he don't take it personal. Just go through it. Love him. Go give him a kiss. Give him a break.
Ooh, I'm just like,
give him a break for a few minutes and just go in there.
That's
like
powerful.
Nothing ever happened.
Right.
And I think that probably bothered him. Like I would act like nothing ever happened. I didn't do it like, you didn't bother me, but I did it like, it's okay.
Wow.
You know, and I didn't learn all this. You know, my parents were very modest with the relationship. You know, my dad, they would kiss in front of us, but
not really. Like,
they didn't talk about their marriage. Like, we're kids at the time. So I'm just learning this as I go.
yeah.
And before I got pregnant, when I got pregnant, I felt like I had turned my back away from God. And I told him, I'm never turning my back away from you again. So trusting in him it's easy, but it's hard. Like,
yeah.
Who else is going to help me? There's no one else that can help me. There could be someone, another woman. Oh, I know how I feel. Go like this and I have attitude and be this. That's not going to help anything.
Yeah.
Me trying to prove a point, it's not going to help anything. So, really just asking God, and he really does give you those quiet little
nuggets,
those little things,
directions.
Like just turn the other cheek.
Wow.
And I don't know. I think some people, every relationship's different.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at it like in the other person's perspective, God gives you understanding. I think that's what we have to ask. Give me understanding. I don't understand.
Right.
And I think, it's not like poof, it's not magic or anything.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you go to bed angry or you're like, ugh. But God's always there. Yeah. He shows up little by little. But yeah, it's just, we're growing together still.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you guys, that you see the victory in here, that everything that you guys been through before COVID, BC, before COVID, and after COVID, and just seeing the growth, the strength in your marriage and what God is doing. And I know God is going to continue to do mighty stuff. Like, there's just so much more.
We had so much growth through the years. We had to learn each other, and now we're here like, oh my gosh, how did we get here? And then we go back through we were here and here, here. We didn't have nothing. And now we have this and we're working together as a team instead of
working against each other.
So that's our testimony.
Yeah, I love it.
If we just work together side by side, but he still leads,
I think that's really interesting because you said it in our society, it's almost the norm now is the opposite.
Yeah.
And I love that God says there's still the head of the household, that's the male, but women and men have the same value. Yes. God values
that's so good. Yes.
Women and men the same, but they're still in order. And some of you viewers out there right now may be going, what? I'm a single mom and, I'm dad and mom because I'm a single mom, but we were never created to be dad. We were created to be the woman. And so, I know some of you viewers may not agree with us saying, oh, the man is, the head of the household.
I don't want that. I don't want that on me. I don't want to be the head of the household.
Yeah, I'm like, the man's gonna stand before God with that. Go ahead, have at it.
I don't want that. I don't want that responsibility.
Yeah. They have a lot of responsibility.
That's why God created them. That's what they're built for.
Right.
I'm built for nurturing, holding up, the strength, the encouraging, but for him, that's my, I help him, but he's like, okay, this is where we go. This is what we do. Hey, what do you think? Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah. We're still a team.
Yeah. Right. But there's still this balance. I don't remember what book I read it or heard it, but it's this beautiful dance that happens between.
I've heard that someone had mentioned that, and it's a dance. Yeah, because they were like, how do you describe a marriage? It's a dance.
It's a dance.
That's beautiful.
And the man leads.
There's a Greek word, and
we will remember that Greek word, but
it is, and it's this dance, and it's just how the Lord dances with us. He dances with us. And that's what makes perfect harmony in a relationship, is to be able to have that dance, you know. So it's not that we're saying, oh, women should, you know, just submit to their husband no matter what they say and how they do it. Because to us to be able to, as a woman, to submit to her husband, because we even submit to one another.
Yeah.
So taking that word submit, you know, you have to be careful, because some want to use it as their benefit and manipulate that word. But we even submit to one another. So to be able to submit to your husband in such a way is to honor him and respect him, right? Mm-hmm. But a husband, in his part, he has a lot. He has to love us, and not love us just however. He has to love us unto even death. Mm-hmm. You know, whatever that looks like in that household with what God is telling that man, and be able to lead as a king. You know, I think of back in the days, they were a king, and they stood and they ruled and they, you know, declared and decreed. But at the same time, some of the kings had to go in war too. Mm-hmm. So our husbands have that over them, where they're having to war and, you know, direct and lead.
I don't think we really understand too their side
of where they're at,
because they probably feel that.
Yeah, all that heaviness. Mm-hmm. And I, you know, for those that are new to us, you know, listeners, you probably don't know, but I mean, we're pretty strong women. I'm a strong woman, and I feel like I'm a boss lady, be all fierce. And, you know, I used to be one that'd be like, I'll carry my own bags, you know, putting my grocery bags all in my arms, my legs and everything. And, you know, wanting to do it myself because I had to.
Right.
That was my upbringing. Like I had to, and I could do it myself. But once you like ask me now if I have to carry everything, I'm like, no, like handsome, go get everything, you know.
I heard someone says, you know how they go, I don't need a man, right? And then, who was this? We had someone on our podcast. She was like, Alondra, she was all, I don't want a man. I need a man. You know, that's our companion. That's what we're created for.
Wow.
Because we have a longing in our heart, you know, so
speaking to me
but also, you know, we're God's brides. I mean, he cares for us so much, and he is a gentleman. And for somebody who is like struggling with their marriage or anything, I feel like just be patient and just listen. Like every marriage is different. Yeah. Every relationship is different, but I think being sensitive to those moments and just like, okay, is that me? Or is that him? But, you know, even if it isn't me, I got to change. I got to do something. Because, I mean, you take vows and you say those vows for a reason, for rich or for poor, to tell, you know, sickness, death, everything. So it's like, we have to stay true to those vows.
Yeah. And, you know, for those that are viewing or our listeners, it is in no way that maybe you find yourself, you're like, man, I did get divorced. And maybe we don't know your story. The story is, you know, your story to tell, and a very important person it takes to push past that pain, push past the judgment, push past where you know, who wakes up and says, oh, I want to get divorced, or you know, thought that we said vows for better, for worse, till death do us part, you know, and, you know, today we're not married. So it's nothing to hold guilt on yourself. Everybody's story is different, and we find God in it. But the way society is right now, the first door open is we want to run out, and we want to be like, peace out. You didn't let me call the shot, or whatever the situation is. But just to be able to say, you know, it's nothing to say, okay, well, man, I tried, but it didn't happen. You know, I tried for my marriage. I was patient. I was quiet. You know, maybe you're a husband that's loving your wife, and you're loving her so much, and you don't know what else to do, and she just wants to leave. You know, maybe you're the wife there, and that you've been praying for your husband, and he just decided to leave. The only common thing that's in this victorious process or in this pain is to lean towards God. Lean in towards him. There may be a time, because if you're in a situation that you are being abused and it's not safe, you get saved. God didn't say, well, you keep just standing there and just be a punching bag. Like, no, we are called to say, hey, you need to get yourself in. If you have children, be in a safe place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So nothing like that.
Right.
So, know that when we're saying, like, and Laura's sharing her experience, that the reason why she's able to even stay in this place is that the key word here to everything that she's been through to see, I heard her saying that she had a baby that had spinal meningitis. That's hard. If you're a mama, and we know that's hard, then you went, living in a place where it's not your own home, to feeling like, oh my God, what's happening with my marriage? Are we even going to stay? But I'm a woman that's saying, like, no, our vows are sacred, to the next minute finding your husband almost to death. Everything's changing, these dynamics. But the common thing that I hear, to moving fast forward, that we're sitting here even in your studio, you calling your husband your best friend, the common thing that I hear is that you learn to say, you know what, I tried life without you, God, but I'm going to sit and I'm going to be still.
Right.
It reminds me of Psalms 5, where the psalmist is talking about that he comes every sunrise, that he's declaring that God will hear his prayers, that he will hear his voice. And he goes and he says that his sacrifice of prayer, he lays at the altar every piece of him, every piece. And he waits for the fire of God to come upon his heart. And I hear that. In that, like, every day you were laying out every piece of you, the hurt that nobody knew you were crying in the shower. Jose didn't know you were crying about to say, I want to give up. I can't do this. I don't know how to help him. I can't get him. I can't, God. Nobody knows the pain you felt when your child was diagnosed with, that's death too. Another place that you're looking at someone that you love that's helpless and you can't help them. And they're pretty much the likelihood of them surviving is none. All that you had to stay with. So it's not easy that you look and you're a country girl. I wonder if you love country music, but you're sitting here. You're so sweet, but really you have endured a lot of pain.
Right.
And you've had to face a lot of your loved ones with near-death experience, and then you sitting there saying, God, how do I do this? So the common thing that we hear Laura saying, the victory through her pain, is that she stopped and was still and said, God, I'm going to lay my pieces before your altar, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till your fire comes upon my heart. And those fires in those moments where when God says, just love him anyway. He was hurt. Yeah. He allowed you to see your family, your husband, through his eyes.
Yeah. And that's a prayer that I said, let me
see through your eyes.
What was that song? I forgot what worship song it is. But it says, let me see them the way you see them.
It's a whole different.
He truly did that for our marriage. And for me, so.
Yeah. Something else that is that place that I hear you say, I listen.
Yeah.
Like you're intentional about listening to the direction of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
It's intentional. You don't just go, oh yeah, maybe I heard that or maybe I didn't. The intent is if you're coming and you're saying, okay, Lord, I don't know how to do this. And then you're waiting.
Yeah.
You don't just go, Lord, I don't know how to do this. And then you go about doing everything that you think you should do.
Yeah. There's scenarios like I should do this and say this and do this.
Yes.
And then I'm like,
there she is. Come out. Yeah. You have those thoughts. Okay. This girl's normal over here.
That just takes too much energy.
That's good.
That's so good.
You're like,
and then there would be so much carnage.
I love carnage.
Do I want to go there?
Yeah. That's good.
I honestly don't. And then if we did go there, it's because I want it. I want to just poke at it and stir it up. But I have those thoughts too.
Yeah.
Like those doubts, the enemy. And I know it's like, you're such a liar. Like, wow, you want me to do this. And I'm like, you must have a really big plan for Jose and for us, because you were just like
it's
in my ear.
Yes, relentless, like that relentless.
Yeah, I'm
just
like, you're
speaking
such a liar.
speaking lies.
So
I like that you said that it's, that place of going, yeah, I could do this. I could do all of that.
Yeah.
But you wait, and there's even victory in that pause because you wait to hear, and your ear is inclined to the Lord.
Yeah, and I know when like arguments and stuff, I can't just wait. Like, oh,
Yeah.
when he's ready, we'll
You're good.
come back together and
You're all,
be
it's
fine.
good. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it just takes too much energy, and I don't want
Yeah.
to. And then you say things
They can't
that
take back
you
later.
can't take back.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to be like that. I don't feel. I feel gross, like nauseous. Like
Yeah.
that's not who I am. And I never want. And God wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm God, but I want to reflect Him as much as I can.
That's good.
That's good.
I think I hear that Jose got blessed with this one.
Right? Right?
He got victory of just being patient and waiting.
Was he patient? No, I think he jumped on the opportunity, and I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I see that one. But thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming and being a part of VIP podcast. Actually being a part of it for us. So we thank you for that and being vulnerable and sharing, because I know it's not always easy. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Don't take it like, oh, I am not perfect. I mess up so much and very forgetful sometimes. But I just try not to dwell in the past and just move forward.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
And I know that there is someone that is watching and someone that's listening that you spoke to them, to that they have confirmation, like what I'm doing, this is what I'm supposed to do and be okay in it, So thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right.
Yes.
So do not forget to subscribe to VIP Podcasts, because you will get the alert for the next episode.
Yes.
And don't forget to even go, I know people may think, oh, Facebook, really? Is that still a thing? Yes, it is. And don't forget to like
Yes.
on Facebook. And hey, you can always reach out to us, right?
Yep.
At Arise Global Changers too. Remember, this is just an extension of that.
Yeah. So thank you, VIP Podcast. Peace out.
Hi.